Transmutations. You are being connected with the Cosmic Core. Careful, the first step is tricky.
You have entered a new level of consciousness.
We are adjusting your frequencies. Hooking up your psychic telephone. And blasting your heart with solar flares of love light. Welcome to the Cosmic Core with me, your soul sister and astral astronaut, Occult Priestess. Allow me to give you a tour of the Cosmic Core, a bit of a wrap to serve as a map. Coalescing cosmic consciousness, coming at you with a Darshan disco shakti Sitari, blasting sonar to your third eye, dancing with bikinis and bikinis, mystics and yoginis in the astral sky, waving at the shamans and the hippies as they drift by. Understanding through love, we never die. We are the platinum ray, the diamond codes, the starseeds, and the not-so-ascended masters. Souls of two worlds, walking between them as best we can, perfecting the great work. We are beyond time, the hermits, the healers, the compassionate ones, the light warriors, mask rippers, and systems busters. We are missionaries from the upper realms, planting the seeds, anchoring the vibrations, teaching the way, unlocking DNA, cleaning up the bloodlines, clearing karma, and preparing humankind for the greatest show on earth. Occult Priestess, reporting for duty. Given name, Corinne Wilson. Nickname, Kore. The Greek root of Corinne, meaning maiden. I am Agent M-I-B. That's Maiden in Black. For more about me, see my page, occultpriestess.com. You are listening to The Cosmic Core. Episode 6. That's Venus in numerology. Today's luminary comes to us from the nothingness, that is everythingness, and today that is Delhi, India. Rashmi Khilnani is an internationally known healer, guide, and teacher of teachers. Rashmi has produced 3 books: The Divine Mother Speaks, The Healing of the Human Heart, Buddha Speaks, To the Buddha Nature Within, Shiva Speaks, Conversations with Maha Avatar Babaji. Each book is filled with spiritual food, transmissions, and shakti pot energy. Some may even go as far as to say Rashmi Khilnani is a master of time-space and an avatar of universal forces. I have had the blessing to have Rashmi in my life for over 4 years. In our long chats, our souls speak. Guides, gods, and forces fill our experience as she aids me in being my most authentic self. I deeply appreciate her mastery on my most arduous journey through the manifest world. Welcome to the Cosmic Core, Rashmi Khilnani. I am pleased to be interviewing a multicultural mystic today, yet she's not one to get caught up in labels. The Western mind craves definitions, demarcation, and differentiation. In this episode of the Cosmic Core, I ask you to suspend your doubting, troubled mind and open your energy field to new information. Welcome to the Cosmic Core, Rashmi. How are you doing today?
Hi, Corinne. Big hello from India. Namaste. And happy Christmas Eve.
Oh, a most auspicious day and a most auspicious lady. We are glad to have you.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's fantastic.
And today we are discussing the topic of the divine child, from healing to Leela, divine play, and the cultivation of wisdom. Now, how do we pronounce Leela?
You pronounced it perfectly, my dear.
Wonderful. Good marks. Excellent. And how would you describe this divine play?
Well, Shiva's dance, the dance of Maya, illusion, is divine play. So everything is divine play. And we're in a holographic reality, as you know, Corinne, and as our listeners know. So if we approach life from that deep mystical wisdom, then everything becomes much easier, because the heart is synonymous with the soul, is synonymous with the divine child within. And the divine child is our divine soul, heart energy as babies, as we come into these incarnations before the imprinting. And the whole game as we are born is we forget everything, and then it's about re-remembering. So it's a wonderful play, is it not?
It is, and I see Shiva dancing in this cosmos dancing around him, the very big cosmic dance, as we might call it. And then...
Nataraja.
Thank you. Thank you. And please explain that to us.
So Nataraja is the dancing Shiva. So, we have Shiv Shakti, and so Shiva is that is the manifest, unmanifest energies, the male, female energies dancing together to create from the unmanifest to the manifest many planets, cosmos, cosmology, universes, and so on. So yeah, Shiva Shakti, the dance of Shiva Shakti.
You give me the impression and feeling of such softness, kindness, and light-heartedness when you describe this aspect of the universe.
If we come into this amazing energy of our divine child within, which is what we are, which is our natural state, and then of course the imprinting comes on, and the imprinting is synonymous with the mind energy and the control mechanisms that help us as kids, to cope with the parent, teacher, minister, authority figures, and 3D reality that we suddenly find our heart, soul energies immersed in within these physical bodies on Earth.
And what is the point? Why are we incarnating in physical bodies from realms of beauty and love into a matrix?
Well, we have many different schools in the manifest realities, and Earth is probably the toughest school of all. And so it's where prime creator energy, all that is, condenses down into sparks, souls, and then comes down into the densest form of physical reality. And so, it's a school of re-remembering, reawakening to who we be, which is not even just a soul, a spark of divinity, but the oversoul, it's a deep, deep mystical understanding that we begin to really understand when we meditate deeply, or begin to understand reality beyond the mind. So the mind can't get it. So during the course of this transmission, it's not just conversation, it's a transmission of energy for those that are willing to open their hearts and re-remember the energy and the calling of their souls, which, as I've said, is synonymous with their divine child within. As Jesus said, be like a little child if you are to go through the eye of the needle.
Mm-hmm. Very insightful. And also, we chose to incarnate here on Earth in particular, as you did say. It is a very hard school. So what is our relationship as incarnating souls into Earth human bodies? What is our relationship to Earth itself, and what are we doing for her or with her?
Well, we are part of Earth. We are part of Gaia. Gaia is so all of us together with nature and the animal kingdom and the rocks and the crystals, all together we are part of Gaia. And so we're not separate really, obviously we have our individuality, and unity consciousness is not about being the same as everybody. It's about having one's unique flavor, but at the same time seeing that we are part of the unified field of consciousness.
Does the soul of humankind and the soul of the earth evolve together?
The soul of humankind and the soul of
earth?
Yes and no. So these are slightly linear questions you're asking, and so I think for the new earth energies that we're in right now, it's quite important to come out of the questions you ask are going to give you the answers, and if you ask more left hemispheric questions, you get left hemispheric answers. That keeps you in some form of the matrix, no matter how spiritual that is, because now it's about not knowledge anymore. It's about embodiment, and it's the embodiment of truth, simplicity, and love. And everything is very simple from the heart's perspective.
Thank you very much for redirecting my perspective. And I'm looking for purpose.
I don't know if you resonate with what I'm saying, Corey.
Of course I do.
Yeah.
But what I'm seeking is the root cause of purpose, why one would choose Earth as a reincarnation point.
Because the soul experiences many realities, and we are multidimensional, and and it is Leela, as we've just said, it's a divine play. So it's like snakes and ladders. You forget and then you re-remember. And the greatest school for that re-remembering is Earth, because this is the only zone where we totally forget. So in other dimensions, the Pleiadians, the Sirians, the Arcturians, different beings, even the fairy kingdom, these other beings and not dimensions, there's not total forgetfulness of the heart, soul, prime creator energies. And on Earth, we totally forget. So it's fantastic to go through such a tough game and win it, and it's not a winning-losing thing, as in left hemispheric understanding. So if we can try and bring our energies now to our, because the child, when you were a little child before the imprinting, you may have found it strange. I agree. You probably did. We all did. Many of us could just feel that, when I was a kid, I really felt like the reality was not what everybody else was seeing, because they saw it as very, the five senses and linear and time, space. And I could see that it was much more than that. And I think many of us could. You probably could too. Is that correct? When you were little, before the imprinting?
Yes, I was imprinted with sleep paralysis very early on, so I didn't really develop an ego without also having nightmares, really bad nightmares. So I was shown that Earth is kind of spooky too. It's not just a playground when I was little. So I didn't have the pure innocence, as you might be pointing out, that most of us do.
Right. So you came with some heavy, in the body, just in terms of the body, you came with some heavy karmic things, like to start that early with that. I mean, I've had nightmares as well most of my life. I had one last night as well, actually.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. No, it's nothing to be sorry about, because at a certain point we begin to become the detached witness even of our dream state. So initially we meditate in our waking state, and then we slowly begin. So I was in it, and it was intense, but at the same time I knew that I'm dreaming. And even the earth walk, in a sense, is a kind of dream as well. But of course we have 3D reality, we have relative reality and absolute reality that I explain in my book, The Divine Mother Speaks, The Healing of the Human Heart, which is Mystery School Teachings Made Simple. In relative reality, we are individuals. In absolute reality, at the core of every one of us, we are part of the unified field of consciousness. And to mix the rules and the laws of each level of reality is deluding oneself vis-a-vis the spiritual evolution of one's journey, if you understand what I'm saying.
I would love to hear more about that. Please explain further.
There isn't anything more to explain. It's something to meditate on.
Ah, right. Something we're going to chew on in meditation.
Well, the thing is that I've just explained it. You cannot mix the rules of relative reality with absolute reality.
Right. And
in relative reality, you're an individual. In absolute reality, everything is one. You and me and dimensions and other beings and planets and the dark and the light, and everything is one. Prime creator energy.
The universal truth.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And that's what we forget time and again, no matter how spiritual we get. And that's why asking the right questions is important. And that's why Zen masters, great mystics teach through neti, which is neither this nor that. So there are two ways to enlightenment or awareness or awakening. One is through I am this and that, which includes everything. The devil, the dark, the light, the planets, the stone. And that's the meaning of Om Namah Shivaya, that Shiva, Shakti energy, is in everything. Or the easier way on the spiritual journey is neti, that you're quite familiar with, I'm sure. It's in my book, The Buddha Speaks to the Buddha Nature Within.
It's one of my favorites. My guru Shimamo Devi taught it to me.
That's right. And so in neti, I am neither this nor that. And so all great mystics and masters teach by showing the door. They can't take you through the door because it's an experiential understanding. No amount of knowledge can take us there. And the deepest question to ask is the who am I question. So in neti, I am neither this nor that. And through, so therefore one is not the body, one is not the title, one is not a nationality, one is not dimensions and all the rest. So in the end you come to Mahamudra, which is Shunya, which is 0 point energy, which is currently now even being, become the buzzword amongst the ascension pioneers. But I've been teaching that for many, many years because that is the essence of who we be at the core. And even quantum physicists and, science and knowledge has shown now that at the core of our being is 99.9%, nothingness. There's, it's just a interplay of intersection of energies and the illusion, therefore, of the density. So, but that doesn't mean that you mix up the laws, you see. That's on a higher perspective. In 3D reality, there is cause and effect, there is karma. As we sow, so shall we reap. In absolute reality, there is no karma. And once we transcend karma, we come to dharma, which is moment to moment, seeing the unified field, seeing Shiva in all beings, seeing the divine in all beings. Shiva is just a word. You can switch it with any number of words, such as the divine, God in everything. Once we get into that space of service, serving all, loving all, starting with self, then we transcend karma and come into dharma.
So there are ways of what they say escaping the matrix, so to speak.
You don't escape the matrix, you transcend the matrix, and then you're still within the matrix, as the Zen koan goes, before enlightenment, getting water from the, what was it?
Carry water, chop wood.
Thank you. That's one of them. And after enlightenment, carry water, chop wood. So, as Kabira, the great Indian mystic, would say, that he would stand in the middle of the marketplace, and he was neither friends with anybody nor foe of anybody. So you're still in the marketplace. You're physically there, but it doesn't affect you in the same way because you become the detached witness, the sakshi of everything. And you realize you're much more than your 5 senses. You are all that is.
Amazing. I have picked a favorite divine child to speak a little bit about today, or to ask you about, basically. And it's Krishna. He's my favorite. When he showed his mother the universe in his mouth, that's my favorite story. So I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about the divine child from your perspective.
So basically, most people that come to me, I'm a so-called healer, quote. But you see, that's again, there's a lot of 3D spirituality that we've got to dump now, because in the new frequencies, the best mode is to, instead of approaching everything as a healing thing, is holding. So either you can keep fixing and fixing and fixing and fixing, 3D stuff, or you can come into, I am whole and complete here now, into truth, simplicity, and love, into grounded heart embodiment, connecting the heart to the center of the heart of Mother Earth, grounding, connecting the heart to the heart of the galactic center of Source, and really strengthening that vertical plane of the heart frequencies, from heart of Mother Earth to our individual hearts, to the heart of the cosmos, and then to all hearts across the globe, which is the vertical plane. And as we strengthen the horizontal plane, so the vertical plane and the horizontal plane, we're strengthening these, especially the vertical, and then whoever we meet, we see as a divine being. So when I meet people, generally speaking, they have a lot of wounding, because as I've said, when we're little, we come with a lot of purity, and then we have to quickly learn the mechanisms of the parent, teacher, minister around us in order to begin to cope and fit in and be good enough and so on, and be like everybody else so we can be liked by everybody else. And that's the whole thing with control and competition and the patriarchal energies, which is not a male-female. It's the energies I've just explained: competition, control, fight, flight, and so on. And we're coming out of that now into the new earth energies that transcend the polarities. And so most people can very quickly now, if they choose to do it simply, because it is simple, begin to pop out their wounded child that they were when they were 5 or 4. See how old you are. Put that child on your lap and speak to it, and promise it that you're going to be its mommy and daddy in a way that our mummies and daddies couldn't fully love us, because they had the wounding going back in the genetic line. Does that make sense?
Most definitely.
And so, yeah, we have to break the pattern somewhere. So, and then giving that child permission to cry a little bit, or share its pain. Usually the wounded child just wants a lot of love and acceptance wherever it's at, whether it's frustrated, angry, impatient, sad. Usually it's just very sad because it didn't get enough love. And then we take responsibility for that as the mommy and daddy of the wounded child. Then we give it a name. And then we pop out our divine child at about 3, 4, 5. And that, as I've said throughout, is our heart, soul, pure energies that are not got anything to do with the matrix, that are totally joyful, happy, trusting, relaxing, co-creative, no competition, no pull-push, no massive mental questions, none of that. It's just a very playful energy. It's a very heartfelt energy. It's a very seeing everybody as us energy, and one with the animals, and beyond the 5 senses, and mystical and magical, and able to see fairies and goblins and other planets and departed souls. And then we give our divine child a name. And then when we're finished with a few minutes each day with the wounded child, we bring the divine child and the wounded child together and pop that golden energy back into our hearts. And eventually what happens is that the divine child is fully present, which is always the case anyways, but we have begun to make our wounded child so whole and complete, so heard and loved, that it doesn't need to act up anymore, and it becomes one with the divine child and trusts and relaxes. Does that make any sense?
That is absolutely beautiful. You took us from A, B to C, and I believe that you gave us transmission and instruction right there, and that's so wonderful. I mean, I can feel it working in the world even. I can feel the vibrations moving through the planet as you speak and opening hearts. I could like see it.
Lovely. And so we send that energy now for all our listeners, for Corinne, for myself, for all of us, 1,008 angels each, to help and to assist, because the angels are there if we ask them. We have to ask. That's all we are required to do. And then trust and relax that we have the support of our guides, our angels, and ultimately the archangels, the ascended masters, the guides, the angels, are all aspects of our own unified field of consciousness, absolute reality, in which all is one. And then we can give it different names. Someone will say Krishna, someone else will say Jesus, someone else will say Buddha, someone else will say... That's why I made this film called I, God, with some of the spiritual leaders of the world and people off the street, asking 5 questions about why are we here, is there heaven and hell, what's the purpose of life. We'll do another show on that, Corinne. But and showing that even though everybody has different answers, that ultimately these are all just different parts, like different languages, up to the same mountaintop. And that top is the divinity, the oneness, the love that exists within all of us, the unified field, absolute reality.
Most definitely. Now, the healing of the wounded child is no longer this long process of therapies of many different modalities and reading hundreds of books. I mean, that's the path that I took. I went really deeply into it logically with my mind when I first started healing to find out what was out there. I did not have fear, though. I went forth. But so many people are frozen by fear, and they just have that trouble just taking the first step. And honestly, that's why I think people like you are here. But what advice do you have for someone who is frozen in fear to look at their past, to look at their childhood?
That's a beautiful question, actually. Well, most of us went through a long journey of healing because we were in the age of Pisces. There were different energies still very recently. And now we've been more and more in the photonic energy, which is this tidal wave of energy that is not protons, electrons, neutrons, but it's pure light, photonic light. And so we're being activated within and without. Ultimately, everybody thinks it's from outside of ourselves, the New Agers and the Ascension guys. But the truth is, as above, so below, as without, so within. And so now the energies are more about making whole and complete. However, we all have choice, Corinne, and so each of us gets to choose which path we want to take, and many will continue to choose a very complicated and difficult journey. But for someone starting that is sincere and willing to make a shift, just take a tiny baby step towards facing a little fear, taking some deep breaths, slowing down, getting off gizmos every now and then, getting into nature, or doing it through sacred music or beautiful music, or dancing or singing, writing, painting, journaling, and begin to just release whatever's inside, the anger, the frustration. And very often people don't know that they have all these things in them. So ask and pray that the conscious, which of course you would know, but also the subconscious and unconscious stuff comes up for you to see at a level at which you can cope with, and ask for help for the integration at each baby step, Is that helpful?
Very helpful. I also feel that you need to be open to the subconscious and getting through the subconscious, which is what I think a lot of people in higher states of consciousness have done. They've cleared out the subconscious.
People in where? Sorry?
People that have reached higher states of consciousness.
Yes,
because,
yes.
When you have a muddled subconscious attic with all of your childhood toys in it, you're not going to be able to get past all that furniture.
Yeah, and it's not an easy thing because, even the ones that have been on the journey a long time, we've all been in those places where we have no clue. You start with the things you do know. Start with something really small. And very often people come for a session and they want to fix other people like their mother or whoever.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes,
that's
so important.
That doesn't work, you know.
Exactly.
You come and work on yourself. And then obviously the people around you may get shifted because you've had a change, an attitude or whatever it is.
That is so key. People do go into healing sometimes to fix other people instead.
Yeah, so then I go, I'm sorry, you know, you'll have to find some other healer, because if you want to fix your mother, then, you know, if your mother voluntarily shows up, that's one thing. But if she doesn't, well, that's a breach of free will. And that's a universal law on earth, is we all have free will. And but you know, many times also people come for holing. I call it holing now. Let's call it healing or holing. And what does that mean? That means making whole and complete. And they come for, say, an issue to do with frustration, and they might heal something completely different. Because we are one unified field of energy, even though we have different bodies, a physical body, emotional body, mental, spiritual, auric, and on it goes. And it's more and more expansive. But, and therefore, if we fix one part, what happens is it's like a jigsaw puzzle. Mm-hmm. You know, it affects all the other parts. And then which part our heart and soul bring up for healing is not always what the mind understands. And so, you know, our mind has one agenda, and that is to survive and to control and to compete, which is part of survival, fight-flight syndromes. And our heart and soul have a completely different agenda. The soul is here for lessons. So if, for example, somebody is incarnated to experience blindness, and then I, as a great healer or whatever, for example, or Jesus goes and heals them of their blindness, well, that may not be appropriate for that person's soul's free will.
Yes, to take a lesson away is what I usually describe it as that.
Yeah. So, you know, it's, but, you know, today we're working with the divine child energy. And in the new frequency of New Earth, as we allow, you know, it's just about saying every day, I choose to be joyous. I see life as a play. I see life with the lightness of my being. I allow my divine child, give it a name. My divine child is called Susie because I lived in Egypt till I was 6 by the Great Pyramid of Giza. And I didn't know, but recently I found out that little girls in Egypt were called Susie, which is strange.
Oh, how lovely.
It's a Muslim country. And I was like, why was I given a pet name that was Christian when I was in Egypt? And I was born to Hindu parents, though I'm very cosmopolitan. Even my parents were. We prayed in all kinds of places, you know, all kinds, you know. We grew up in Muslim countries, Christian countries, Hindu countries, so we were very cosmopolitan, as I said. So, yeah, and so allow that divine child to come through and be the boss of this, you know, the captain of this current ship, because the divine child is wise. It's you know, it's a very powerful energy of creation, and brings new earth abundance, because in new earth abundance has got nothing to do with being better than other people and all this. It's about 2018 is the year of world service now. And it's about serving selflessly and beginning with self-love. So when we tune into our divine child within, we immediately come into loving ourselves. And the wounded child is where we're not feeling good enough, we're not feeling okay. Somebody said, you know, your nose wasn't okay, and we've taken that to heart. And so that's why every day you pop out the wounded child. And just for a few minutes each day, and ask the wounded child, it might want, you know, to get mad or something, in which case you might write it out, paint it out, sing it out, and then let it go. And but it's not really in the new frequencies about fixing stuff so much anymore.
Yes, I feel like my inner child who was wounded had a lot of angst to get out, to express through the body physically, even if it was just exercise or dance. So there's like a kinesthetic experience to,
Right.
yeah, cleanse the body, I suppose, or the thought patterns. How does that work, Rashmi?
I didn't quite get your question.
How can we physically help? Because a lot of people are, again, frozen in fear. And so if we get them moving with these intentions.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes. So that's why, I really like to work with heart song and heart dance and movement. There's an incredible system called biodanza that I practice myself. It takes you straight into the divine child energies, bio danza, danza. People can Google it. It may exist where they are because this show goes all over the world, doesn't it, Corey?
Yes, it does. International.
So biodanza is all over the world, but there's 5 rhythms and there's any form of movement and singing and dancing is what we did as children. It's what I loved doing as a child, and or painting.
That's what I was going to ask you about next, the painting, because I believe that your paintings are a mystical experience for all of us. So could you explain?
Thank you.
Yes. Could you explain how you open up to start a painting?
Everything I do, Corinne, I wrote 3 books: The Divine Mother Speaks, The Healing of the Human Heart, Buddha Speaks to the Buddha Nature Within, and Shiva Speaks, Conversations with Maha Avatar 1008 Babaji, who's the same Babaji from Autobiography for Yogi, the Guru's Guru of the Shiva energies. He was not born of a man or a woman. And they literally came out in 21 sessions. I was guided. It was not something I decided to do. Because when you're in that divine child energy, it all just comes from nowhere. It comes from the nothing. It comes from the nothingness energy, the Mahamudra energy, the 0 point energy. Yeah. And that's why this energy is so important. And how do people access that energy? Either through the divine child, or through play, or through breathing, or through meditation, or through becoming the detached observer of the thoughts, or watching the space between, the gap between thoughts, and not identifying with thoughts, disidentification, through neti, I am neither this nor that, or through asking the question, who am I? In deep meditation, Ramana Maharishi is a great mystical teacher of those the who am I meditation, or through just listening to music very deeply, being in nature deeply, doing anything with full heart, running with full heart, dancing with full heart, singing with full heart, and so with the paintings, it's the same thing. I just get a canvas. I might say, okay, today I'm painting New Earth. And as I'm painting it, I'm sending the energy of New Earth abundance for every human on the planet. So I just open my heart. I go out in nature. I'm in Delhi right now, in India. I'm bare feet and I have a nice space. And I just let it come through. That's it. With the books, it's the same thing. I create a space. So if you create a space of nothingness, if you just clear your space, so you clear your room or you clear your day and you just decide to play. And you don't care too much about how it's going to come out. So you get all that Virgo stuff out of the way, big time, perfection stuff out. You don't edit it. You don't think about it. You don't think who's going to like it, how many likes am I going to get. In the new Earth frequencies, all this business of who's looking at me, who's liking me, what's happening, that's ego stuff, and that's the mind stuff, and that's the fight flight, I got to be better than everybody stuff, that is collapsing, because Piscean age is collapsing and giving way to the age of Aquarius, the new earth energies. But if we come into the childlike, I'm playing, and I'm sharing, and children build sandcastles, and then they just, oops, sorry, I dropped. They build sandcastles by the sea, and then they kick them in the evening, right?
Yes.
And they burst into laughter, and the whole joy was in the joy of creation, was it not?
Yes, it reminds me of the Buddhist monks doing a sand mandala and how freeing it might feel when they just dash that across the table.
That's it. That's it. And so, Einstein, Beethoven, Picasso, whoever it was, these great geniuses, it's when they let go and they relaxed and they allowed that the whole universe comes through. And the other day I wasn't feeling very inspired, so I actually asked Michelangelo to come through. That doesn't mean that I painted a Michelangelo painting. Certainly not. I didn't.
But that shows you're in a very creative state to even think about calling upon Michelangelo.
Yeah, I just asked I asked my previous lifetimes as an artist to come through, but that's just sometimes, Other times I'm just in a state of meditation or one with nature and enjoying and relaxing, and just enjoying playing with it all,
That sure sounds like fun to me.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I go into a bliss state. Same with the dancing. In the dancing as well. When I'm not too focused on is everybody seeing and, I might be, when I lose the I and I just become one with the dance and the other dancers, if there are some, like in bear dance, we dance in ones, twos, groups, circles and whatnot. We become tigers on the floor, then somebody becomes mummy, somebody else becomes baby. Then you have sensuality, sexuality, affectivity, which is emotional, creativity, transcendence. There are 5 lines in bear dance. It's such a powerful, amazing system, and there's no steps. And so you could be dancing, transcendence, and to some beautiful music by Celine Dion, or some amazing Brazilian music, or it could be from anything. And so, if we give ourselves this permission, then we create, and through that creative energy, abundance comes. And through then sharing, share what you've done. I have the courage to just share it. And sometimes people like it, and sometimes people don't press like, and that's fine, but you're just sort of throwing it all out there. And as we each do that, can you imagine the amount of abundance we create on this planet?
Yes, I'm getting the word really big, expression.
Yes.
So it's expression of the soul. It's a higher form, as I would say, from our Piscean past. It's a higher form of human expression, the divine expressing through the human, through art, through dance. And also, I'd like to know a little bit more about how bliss feels to you. Not everyone on this planet has felt bliss or can describe it. So I understand you can walk around all day in bliss. What is that like?
I don't know about all day, because if you're interfacing with 3D reality, sometimes, I think yesterday somebody was saying, oh, but you live in a bubble.
Oh my goodness,
and I said,
it's not true.
I said, well, yes and no, I live in New Earth frequency, so I'm multidimensional, and so without complicating it, keeping it really simple, I spend most of my time outside. I spend most of my time in nature. And by nature, I mean it could be a tree, because I'm an urban shaman. I have to be, as you know, Corinne, in the middle of D.C. or the middle of London, holding frequency of nothingness, of human being as opposed to human doing. And at the same time, I sometimes, go into very crowded places and deal with all sorts. So it's, as you asked that question, I just went into my little girl, my little Susie, and I'm just like grinning and not shy, but, I'm just so sweet and I'm just so funny and it's just so silly. And recently I was in Osho Leela in next to Stonehenge in England last June, and they invited me to initiate 150 people in the Mystic Hearts Festival into the heart frequencies and do the opening and closing ceremonies of 5 days. And there were many teachers there, pagans and shamans, and all kinds of things were happening. And these people were from like 9 years of age till 90, every nationality.
Sounds like a 0 point right there.
Yeah, and as you know, Corey, and I normally I teach Reiki Masters. I'm teacher of teachers. You know, I work on Leonard Orr, I'm working on Bob Friedman, I'm working on spiritual leaders. I also work on just anybody that comes in my path to help. And help, I don't like that word so much, just to, you know, be the fairy godmother and say what's your dream and send some angels for that.
Mm-hmm.
But so I was quite concerned, and I said to Swabhavo, who's been there a long time and has been with Osho a long time, I said, Swabhavo, I better just tone down the frequencies because, you know, these are just people from all walks of lives, of all levels of soul journeying. And he said, no, just go full whack. And I was just amazed, Corinne, because, you know, what a force field of energy. That night there was all this thunder and lightning, and I thought I was on the top floor, you know, in this master bedroom of this 200-year-old house in the middle of the, you know, Wiltshire countryside. And it was clearing, you know, all the energies because everybody's hearts were so open by what happened. But during that time of those 5 days, I was being the divine child and quite goofy and silly, and it was just happening. I was quite surprised, you know. I thought I might take on some sort of mode or something. No, I was just being the silly, crazy little kid, except during the, you know, actual initiations and so on. And people were just so delighted, you know. And at the same time, I didn't realize it, but they were just sort of kind of treating me with some kind of awe as well. But I was just being the you know, the fool. And it was just happening, and it was just so refreshing because I was quite worried about the whole thing, you know, spending that much time with that many people because, as you know, some of the time I'm just in my hotel caves, you know, being a yogi, urban yogi as well. So it all worked out so well, and everybody was so playful and joyful and non-serious about it all. You know, even the people that came to me for some deep issues, we were able to see the humor in stuff and come to the lightness of being.
Well, you know, I'm getting hit with the Mary Poppins. A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine.
Helps the medicine go down. The medicine go... And supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, even though the sound of it.
Absolutely perfect.
We should sing a Christmas carol at this point. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. You know, if we start singing in the middle of tragedy or whatever, I mean, you know, as I said,
it breaks up the energy fields completely.
Yeah, as I said in one of my Facebook lives recently, I said, you know, obviously, you know, I said, laugh in the face of disaster, which is what I tend to do. I tend to just fall to pieces over silly little things and get really human. But when it comes to the big stuff, I'm just laughing or really, you know, being brave. But, you know, even when people die, amongst many different clans on Earth, people actually celebrate and there's a lot of laughter because they know that, you know, death is just change and transition and it's not a death.
I do think that's the difference. They know the difference.
Yeah. So I don't suggest, you know, if you go to some funeral that you essentially just burst into laughter because that might not be appropriate for that particular culture. However, you know, to be able to see what, you know, our mind is so serious and the heart is playful. The cosmic heart within each of us is the divine child. It's playful, it's loving, it's connected to nature and the animal kingdom and all that is. And it is magical and it is mysterious and it is mystical and it is so simple and loving.
And I believe in this matrix, the divine child also takes on the trickster, the brilliant, hilarious trickster. So if someone is in a negative mood, they're in a low vibration, if you tell them a little joke, poke them in the ribs a little bit, smile, hi, how are you today? And even you can make fun of people a little bit if you're good at it. Good ribbing can break people out of those patterns. And I do see it like a dark cloud that can be broken up with laughter and love.
That's it. You know, that's the whole point of lightening up. So now it's very important to have grounded heart energy. So just having the heart fully open in appropriate spaces like the metro, you know, in New York or London or whatever is not appropriate. But just a grounded heart energy is the divine child, nice and grounded. So it's bringing that divinity down into the physical body temple. And how do we do all these things? We allow them. Every time our mind says how, the answer is always allow.
Wonderful.
Trust and relax.
I love
Trust
that.
and relax. Trust and relax.
How? Allow.
Relax.
We should hyphenate that. How? Allow. How?
Yeah.
Allow. That's wonderful. It's a great, it's a mantra.
And then we have the be, do, be, do, be, do. You know, so it's not just, we're not human doings. We're human beings. We need to slow down. We need to is again a very 3D word, but just for the purposes of language, slow down, relax, breathe, connect to nature, switch off the gizmos some of the time, play with paint, play with art, play with dance, play with reality. Ask your universe each day to bring you great awesomeness. You're in your universe, everybody else is in their universes. So that's the individuality within the unified field. And as we shift that inner space, everything shifts. Everything shifts. And as you know, Corinne, at the moment, financially, I've lived out of hotel caves. I've sold everything I have to serve humanity and to work on self-love and to be and to relax. And because most people are running around, including the metaphysical teachers and New Age teachers, and some of us, you know, are required to just be on park benches and hold frequency. Now within that, books happen, films happen, art happens, dance happens, 3 or 4 continents happen. People wherever I go, they say, are you a fashion designer? It's quite funny. And all these other things happen, but they just happen. And even the money, you know, my money is running out now, but I'm living such an abundant life, and I'm giving for free everything I teach and do, 99% of it. There's a few things I charge for, such as energy modalities and a few things and certain individuals and certain students, but 99% free. So, you know, we're all being required now in 2018 and beyond to come into the energy of trust. Mm-hmm. And our divine child is such a joyous way to get us there. Yes, it does mean looking at the wounded child, you know, as we've said. And each day as we do that, you know, it's like with teeth. If you brush your teeth every day, you floss them every day, then you don't need to suddenly go to a hygienist 3 years later and have all your teeth fall out and have root canal issues. And it's the same with bringing out the wounded child. You just do that every day for 10 minutes in the bathtub, the shower, or you know, in your evening walk or your jog or whatever little time you have. And if we don't make time for ourselves, if we don't begin to love ourselves, and everybody's core issue is generally I'm not good enough, because that's what we learned when we were very young. Somebody said that to us. It could have been our mommy, our daddy, whoever it was, another kid at school. And you know, the mantra is I'm okay, I'm enough, I love myself. Look in the mirror every day and say that till you really start feeling it. And just as one is without including the imperfections. So I know this sounds really simple and the mind immediately goes, I don't trust that, it's too simple.
It's a path one must walk. You have to put your foot on it first. You can't prejudice. You can't be prejudiced about it. You have to be humble, and that is the first step, humbleness.
And you know, thank the mind. You know, the mind has helped us for so many years to cope with the Piscean age, with patriarchal energies. Thank the mind and then say, but that isn't true anymore. Mm-hmm. You know, somebody said I was fat, but that isn't true. Or I like myself exactly the way I am. Or whatever it is that one is worried about. And being in the moment is so crucial. And that's not easy because the mind is never in the moment. The mind is always into, you know, the future or the past. And when we're in the present moment, we are always in bliss. Or at least we are always able to cope with whatever comes at us. So grounded presence of the present in the presence is key. And one of the great ways of doing that is through the breath. Another great way is through chanting Om or thinking peace, calm, or just thinking, I am grounded here now. I am present here now. Or bring in 1008 angels for whatever issues you have and ask them to help you. Ask them to do the work. Ask your universe to bring you forth.
And somehow making it a
baby
part,
steps.
yeah, a part of your daily life, your little ritual. So I do dishes every day. So at the sink, I am connecting upward through the heart center to the galactic center and grounding downward into the middle of the earth, the 0 point. So during dishes, we all have little things we must do to keep it up, right? Keep the house going or our life going. Whatever your little habits are, bring spirituality into it.
That's right. And people feel this is my spiritual time and this is my other time. No, in the new frequency, and we're in it. Every single person on this planet is in it, whether they consider themselves an ascension person or not. Ascension is just a big word for evolution, raising of consciousness, expansion. And so we're all in this energy now. Everybody's going through tough initiations moment to moment in their lives, and all 3D realities are beginning to collapse. So when we're in our mind, we're never grounded. It's just that the two don't go together. And the reason why we prefer to be in the mind is because we don't want to feel our feelings. Because when we ground, we're going to feel our feelings. Because then you're very present in your body and those feelings are stuck in your body. Mm-hmm. And we don't want to do that because we feel that feeling our feelings will kill us. But the truth is not feeling our feelings, and I don't mean making a 365-day Broadway hit of our feelings, but just a little bit allowing emotion, energy and motion to move within the body, is actually going to give us wellness, is going to release dis-ease.
It's like coming out of rigor mortis and getting more flexible and softened and meat tenderized. And it is difficult in the beginning, but we move forward. We keep going.
Meat tenderized.
Or my guru would say we have been beaten senseless by the waves of samsara.
Samsara, yeah. So, bring in the energies of Bast. Bast is one of the netters of ancient Egypt. And Bast, if we just say Bast, Bast, Bast 3 times, that is the energy of the cat goddess of ancient Egypt, of joy, of celebration, of play, divine Leela. Or you bring in the energy of Krishna, baby Krishna, as Corinne has said, Krishna, 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 baby Krishna, come through me, and let's play. Or you invoke the energy of play. I am divine play, I'm divine play, I'm divine play within me now. You are a master mistress waking up. You are a divine god, goddess waking up now. As long as you're grounded, you see, if you're a god, goddess waking up and you're flying high as a kite and you're not connected to the center of this earth, you're not going to be able to manifest zilch. All the money issues that many of the spiritual people have, quote unquote, are to do with the fact that they're not grounded. So earth, earth, earth. You say that 3 times, you ground. Chokore, chokore, chokore for all the Reiki people out there. You ground. Sending that cord as Corinne does down to the center of the earth. Hugging a tree, walking bare feet as I'm doing every day right now in Delhi by the pool and on the bit of grass there. Because it's so good for the health, earthing. There's a whole film on it now. And these simple practices, and simplify everything. The mind is complicated. It always wants, needs, wants, needs, wants, needs. The new frequency is not about wanting and needing, because every time you say I want, I need, you're going to keep wanting and needing, no matter how many Rolls Royces you have, no matter how many lovers you have, etc. So in the new energies, it's about choosing. I, as a grounded, heartfelt, divine being, god, goddess, whatever you want to call yourself, I'm choosing this. I choose this. Obviously, if your choice tampers with the free will of others, well then, karma's going to smack back, right? Cause and effect. Mm-hmm. So we have to abide by the laws of each level. And people are getting confused with what is quantum and what is multidimensional and so on. Ultimately all the dimensions exist simultaneously at the same time. Ultimately, time and space are constructs. They're like video games that we're in. The truth is there is no time. Everything is eternal. It's happening simultaneously. It can be bent, and so on. And it's the same with all the gods, goddesses, beings, planets, and all these ETs we're waiting for. We are all that is. We are the aliens we're waiting for.
And disclosure comes from within, right, Rashmi?
Yippee, 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 doo.
So for 2018, I'm feeling that a lot of, in our community especially, are going to be pushed back into themselves. Like, quit trying to heal the world all at once and focus on who you are and what your path is.
Brilliant, brilliant. So it's not selfish to love yourself. It's not selfish to, it is wise. What Corinne has just said is great, great wisdom. It is so important now to contain your own energy. Jim Self says, put a nice sacred rose hula hoop around yourself and stay in your own energy. And what the world is doing out there and all the systems and Trump and Korea and yada yada, it's fine. But really, if you can switch off your televisions, switch off the news, and connect to your own frequency, emit, as the Pleiadians say, your own frequency. And that's a choice. And if we emit truth, simplicity, and love, we share and care, starting with ourselves, and then the infinity symbol, that love pours out to others. We meditate or we become still, and then there's a lot of self-love, and then that pours out for others that cross our path. And we don't have to fix all the issues everywhere to be charitable and philanthropic and loving all and serving all. Whoever comes under our nose, can we say hello? Just a nice big hello changes people. Even somebody is rude and cross, or somebody is the so-called enemy, you just go and say hi. And that poor person is going to be stumped out of their brains. And then how they react is not up to us. So a true master, a truly blissful, joyous, happy person is one who is above the opinion of others. The opinion of others is none of one's business. Really.
I totally agree. So a lot of people are going to be triggered more than ever in 2018 as far as they just saw something on the news that's totally...
More and more and more.
Right. So let's say someone just got triggered and they're in the crazy land. At that very moment, if they can be and catch themselves, what can they do?
If they've done that, then they're back in their hula hoop. Then that's brilliant, isn't it?
So it's just about identifying, catching it, and saying, okay, I know what this is. I've been triggered.
Yeah, so every time we're triggered, just take a deep breath, connect to your heart, connect to the heart of the center of the earth, ground. Come back into your own energy. If there's some anger there, feel it a little bit, release it without hurting yourself or anybody else. You can punch a pillow, you can dance it out, you can paint it out, write it out, and so on. And then you can quickly shift frequency by chanting Om, primordial sound of the universe. Sound is a very powerful way to shift frequency. Movement, as Corina said, is a dance, movement, a walk, nature. Nature clears a lot out for us, bathing, conscious bathing, consciously sitting with fire. If you're feeling depressed, go and sit with fire. If you can't go to a fire, and obviously be careful as well, be intelligent, have lots of candles, but again, be intelligent with how you use these things. Get some sage, the simple things work best. Use some aromatherapy and go help somebody. Whatever I have, if I've got some food here, I take it in the car and I'll give it to my driver, or I'll give it to the beggar on the street, or I'll share. Today I got a whole load of food from the Sikh taxi drivers because they did the Guru Granth Sahib, their sacred book, and then they all have this free thing called langar in the Gurdwaras. So they had all this free food, so they packed so much food for me. Well, I couldn't eat all that, so then I found all these different people in my spa downstairs, and I gave all the girls food, and So as we share and share, it all becomes so much more,
Yeah,
It's so
what
joyous.
experience you had with the girls? I'm sure you were giggling and having fun.
Yeah. And they find it very funny how I dress and all, my hats. And then I went to see this psychic who comes on television, and she was like, so every time I meet you, you wear hats. Is it because you're conserving your spiritual energy?
Interesting.
And she shot about 20 of these questions at me. And I said, look, we've got 2 hours before your client comes. We want to, clear you out, which if you want, we'll do. She needed psychic surgery and whatnot. And so now, either you're going to get into all these mental questions. I'm just wearing a hat because I like wearing hats.
Well, she would have had me because I wear my hat to cover my crown.
Okay, so she would have hit the nail on the head with you.
Yes.
but you see, she's a psychic, and so we could have had a more intuitive conversation because she had a scarcity of time, and so
I would like to point out that as a psychic,
be funny.
True. As a psychic myself, working with you is so powerful because I can see, feel, hear, and know, like gnosis, what you're saying, what you're bringing down. You give me downloads. So I do want to say for other psychics out there that Rashmi is an amazing guide.
Oh, thank you so much. So you see, that's exactly right. When I'm speaking, I'm working with energy. And so there actually is no I. It's within the nothingness is the everythingness. And as the conversation happens, because we are bringing in as much wisdom of how people can be facilitated on a joyous earth walk in the new earth energies. And 2018 is now. Yes. All time is now. So let's start now. Is true energy. And everything is energy. And so as I'm speaking, you are feeling the energy, and my words carry energy. That's one of the siddhis I have, one of the gifts I have since I was little, because I'm a heart-whole being as well, as all that is. And so we work with sound.
I'm sorry, for our Western audience, could we please get a small explanation of siddhi? S-I-D-D-H-E.
Siddhis are the celestial gifts given on earth, because here we are, so let's stick with it. And they come from tapasya in the Vedas, which is, purification by being on the path, working on the samsaras, working on the samskaras. The samskaras are the predispositions that the soul carries from past lives, such as maybe anger or frustration or different qualities we carry are the samskaras. Usually they're the so-called quote-unquote negative ones. And so as we release those, and as we purify, and as we come into those states of 0 point energy, and the one, and within the oneness, seeing everybody as us, loving all, serving all, and not as some sort of holistic, holier than thou type of thing of I'm so spiritual and everybody else is not from that perspective.
So when the
then
human
we get granted these qualities, and different people have different ones. When I met Leonard Orr, who's one of the fathers of the New Age, and I worked with him, and I worked to help heal him as well, facilitate his healing journey, because Mahavatar Babaji sent me, and he was also my colleague. Then he said, oh, I have these siddhis, what are your siddhis? And I got quite angry with him. I said, I'm not here to show off about my siddhis to you and you to me. If you do that, they will be taken away from you.
It sounds like to me from what you're describing, the process of cultivating siddhis is natural, that it will come to all of us as we cleanse.
Exactly. And we can't ask for them to come. I mean, obviously you can pray and say, please may I have the gift of seership or more intuition or serve greater compassion to help humanity, or the qualities of Kuan Yin, the goddess of compassion, whatever that is. However, the siddhis come. I was born with certain gifts, and Leonard got other gifts because he's doing non-stop purification with the sacred elements, earth, water, fire, ether. He's the father of rebirthing, which is modern Kriya Yoga, which is conscious connected breathing. I'm a teacher of that as well. We have many past lives with the Shiva energies. Everybody on earth is a special soul that's here now. We are the bravest souls that have chosen to incarnate at a time when 7 billion are to wake up to Christ consciousness. Today's Christmas Eve, Baby G's time of unity consciousness. This is not Christianity, this is unity consciousness. And so we are the bravest of brave. We are going to go through the fire of purification. It's happening since 2012, the last 5 years. Even in my life as an old soul, and all the different titles I get called, I've been through the ringer vis-a-vis 3D human side. Everything has come to zero. And my whole life has been like that. I've voluntarily jumped off cliffs and left stuff. But the last 5 years, even stuff that I didn't particularly choose has happened, you know. And but here we are. We're still here. It's just incredible. It's such an exciting time. I hope people are feeling inspired to connect to that beautiful inner child and to that sweet wounded child that needs us to be mommy and daddy to it, so that we don't go kicking and screaming till we're 80, you know, for attention. Look at me, can you hear me? I need to be better than everybody else. I need to be good enough. I need to be a psychopath, and I need to kill a whole lot of people, and be a pedophile, and all the other crazy deviances that happen out there are because of that wounded child within the hearts of many. Most. We're all sailing in the same boat.
And it feels like we all have a collective soul mission this lifetime to go through the change together, holding each other's hands. It's beautiful. We should be proud, honestly, I think. We can have a healthy sense of pride just for being here.
Yes. And so feel your way through the new energies and know that you are one with all that is, and know that within that it is totally okay to be selfish vis-a-vis self-love to start, because in the aeroplane you first put the oxygen mask, then you are asked to put the oxygen mask on your child. The reason is that if you die or faint, that poor child has no chance. And it's the same with healers and teachers, and so many of our listeners are, you know, spiritual beings that have been on the path. You know, people, they're out there healing other people, but we have to take time to just also nurture ourselves.
I totally agree. We need the oxygen mask first. That's what I have been learning deeply, and it has taken me to the spa. I've had the most wonderful experiences of taking care of my body, loving my animal self and my spiritual self. And
that's right.
It's an integration, and it's beautiful to live and to inspire others with it. Then you see them doing it, and it just pays it forward.
So, you know, that's exactly right. So there's a big difference between shining as the divine child and being the light that lights up others and inspires others, and that me on Instagram and social media. Look at me. There's a difference, and each of us knows in our hearts what that difference is. It looks the same on the outside, perhaps, to the person who doesn't understand. And also, you know, as we get wiser, then we begin to understand. Somebody said something to us. Was that their projection? Like recently I met another psychic who said, oh, you need to love yourself more and so on. So for a moment I took it to heart and I thought, oh, there must be somewhere else I need to look at. And I was excited. Mm-hmm. And then I realized that she was projecting, that was coming totally from her own stuff. At other times, if a healer or a wise being or just even an ordinary taxi driver teaches me something, ma'am, you know, you're being a bit impatient right now, whatever, I take that and I learn from it, and I thank that person.
I think it's beautiful. It makes me feel loved.
Yeah, and it makes you humble. And so it's about power with humility. And vulnerability is power.
Yes.
The new power is vulnerability. That doesn't mean crying buckets and just, again, wanting attention all the time from people. Look at me, I'm
an emotional wreck.
Woe is my name, you know. I'm now doing Shakespeare's tragedy upon tragedy. You know,
that's so Piscean.
It's divine balance. So, you know, sometimes people meet me, like at the Mystic Heart Festival. I said to this guy, this is my moment now. I need to be a little kid. I need to cry because all that energy of all those people, and maybe some of my own energy. I don't know. I just need to cry. Can you be my daddy right now?
Oh.
So this poor man said, I've never been a daddy to somebody who's a mystical teacher or just a grown woman. I said, well, if you can't, that's fine. And he agreed, and he did. And it was such a great moment for him because, you know, the so-called healer had made him the healer. And it was so nice for him to do that. He enjoyed it.
He stepped up to the plate. That's wonderful.
Yeah,
the divine masculine was there for you.
Yeah, and he pushed past his own barriers of, you know, that he wasn't good enough and that he wasn't okay, and who was he to do that? And I was able to be so-called weak in 3D reality, but it's vulnerability. And I released, and then I was $1 million ready to do my work again. And he it was such a gift for both.
And a gift for now. I'm feeling it too. Your brother stood up and said, I'll do that for you, darling. And I'm sure that energy coming through him, the divine masculine, the father, to you, taught him a whole new perspective.
It gave him the empowerment that he was wounded about, that he wasn't good enough as a man on all those different levels. So in that moment, he was my father. He was also the guy there, the masculine energy. And I just needed to be the little girl.
I think that's beautiful. And that humility that you're like, okay, I'm having an issue. I know how to deal with this. And you did. And so thank you for showing us
I was feeling all the energy of all the pain of 150 people.
And the planet, I'm sure.
I was holding the Buddha field. Yeah, that's right. I was sending out those energies. And I is just a word, you know. There is no I doing anything, whether it's the painting or any of it. And when people say to me, oh, you're the greatest avatar, you're the greatest mystic, I go, I am nothing. And when they say, who do you think you are? You're not a goddess. Then I might say, I am a goddess.
Mm-hmm.
And so are you. And if you can't see it, that's fine. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know? My mother used to say, darling, don't cut a sorry figure and say, you're goddess everywhere. I said, Mommy, if people call me goddess and I feel that I am a goddess and I feel everybody's a goddess, then I'm not going around to cocktail parties saying, look at me, I'm the goddess. But if someone says you're the goddess, I go, yes, hi, hello. You know, I'm not ashamed of that. And even if you're my mother, you know, that's your view.
I totally agree.
So she wanted Divine Mother initiation from me one time when these ladies spontaneously sat in a group. They didn't even know what I do. They said, we want Divine Mother initiation. My mother sat as well. I said, Mommy, I can't give you. You're my mother. She said, I'm sorry, I'm not being left out.
Oh.
It was so funny.
That's so sweet. Mm-hmm. I would like to ask you, if you don't mind, to give us a prayer, meditation, or transmission so that we can all allow in the divine child in 2018 and the now in the 0 point.
This whole show has been that, so okay. So let's just take a deep breath in and a long breath out. And let's hold our beautiful hearts with our hands. Let's keep our feet nice and flat on the floor if you're sitting on a chair. Or you can lie down on your back. Or you can sit cross-legged on a bed or on the floor. And just send the root chakra down to nice tap root from the root chakra and the soles of the feet down to the center of Mother Earth. Feel the love and the support of Gaia, Mother Earth, and feel that energy coming through your pranic tube, which is a tube that is, if you put your thumb and index finger together, that's the diameter of your pranic tube. It's an etheric tube that connects all your chakras in a straight line. Send that pranic tube down to the center of Mother Earth and up to the heart of the cosmos. And then just feel the heaven and earth energies pouring through the pranic tube. Prana means Reiki, universal life force energy, Chi, life force energy. And start feeling really loved and supported and one with these terrestrial and celestial energies. Breathe them in deep, and then on the out-breath, let's open the 1,000-petal lotus of our golden, cosmic, divine child hearts, all one. Breathe in deep, heaven and earth. Feel how much the flower wishes to open. Might be just a little bit, might be fully blooming. And see this golden 1,000-petal lotus spin. And as it spins, just feel your divine child at 5 or 4 as a golden energy, very joyous, very happy, blissful, peaceful, grounded, cosmic, divine mystery, mystical, magical, creative, playful, curious, connected to all dimensions, to all beings, all-knowing, all-seeing, all-pervasive. And then just feel your wounded child now for a moment. Give your wounded child a name. So my divine child is Susie. My wounded child was Cindy. They're quite connected, and once in a while when Cindy plays up, then we talk to her. We love her. We ask her why she's kicking and screaming. She's usually trying to protect me from something or some misuse or something. But then there are other ways I tell her that we can work on that. So just give your divine child a name and your wounded child. We're already very connected in that golden, beautiful energy within our 1,000-petal lotus, deep in our hearts as we're connecting as one with heaven and earth. And bring the divine child into this vortex of energy. And then the wounded child, give your wounded child a name. And then just take a moment to love your wounded child as the mommy and daddy to your wounded child. Ask him or her what she wishes to express. And bring 1,008 angels to also amplify this mommy-daddy energy of love, of support, of safety. I am safe, I am safe. I am innocent, I am innocent. I am innocent as a newborn child within me now. So when your wounded child is ready to say that, if it is, let it repeat. I am safe, I am safe. I am innocent as a newborn lamb. I am grounded, I am connected. I am loved, I am lovable. I'm okay, I'm enough. And then bring the divine child and the wounded child together. Feel that inner smile. Feel that inner joy. Feel that divine child energy emanate into your DNA as your DNA is moving now from 2 to 12 helix. Feel it emanate into your blood, into your kidneys, into the liver. The energies are moving all into all the bodies, into every part of your being, into your aura. And feel that lightening up, that playful lila energy, that connection with Source and all that is, that non-separation. And when you're ready, take a deep breath in and let's chant Om and come back to Corrine. Let's breathe in deep. Grounded heart, soul, divine, cosmic child energy within and without. Breathe in deep. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace within, peace without. Peace to all beings everywhere. Corrine, how are you doing?
Oh, you know I'm in that bubble of bliss.
How was the experience for you?
I feel very activated. When you brought up the DNA, fireworks went off all in my system. Like I said, you just turned me on, lady. It's all the bells and whistles.
Up my life,
yes, you do.
You make me strong.
Oh my goodness.
Carry on. So
my inner child is speaking to you. Her name is Isabella. She's a fairy. She says I was never a child. And that song is one of the biggest songs of my childhood.
Oh my God.
Yes, ma'am.
You light up my life. You make me strong to carry on. You light up my days and all my nights. Rashmi means moonlight and sunlight. It means the light. And what is light? Light is information. Light is love. Light is brilliance. And we are brilliant. And we have been taught for 26,000 years that we are rubbish and we're not okay and we have to survive. No, we don't. We are thrivers. We are heaven on earth. We are new earth frequency now. And new earth is not new, but this is a new octave because this is the first time such density is awakening to total divinity within density here now, from carbon to crystalline frequencies, diamond. So feel your diamond sparkling frequencies, feel your gold frequencies, feel your platinum frequencies, feel this, the undercurrent, the rainbow bridge from soul to oversoul. To all that is.
All the way to the other shore. All the way. Gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha.
Antakaran, swaha. So, yeah, did you connect to your wounded child, Corinne?
Yes, she turned into my fairy because they've been friends for a long time, and so they just merged.
That's lovely. But did she express a little bit of any sorrow?
No, I said, what do you want? Like, your dream, what's your dream? And she said, I want to be a priestess of the night. And then I saw glowing plants in the night, and it was beautiful. So she definitely wants to invoke the fairy realm into this world.
Lovely, lovely. And you felt that golden cosmic heart energy as one with the divine child?
Most definitely. I always connected on that vertical axis. Yes, the golden.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're feeling grounded now? A little bit more grounding. A little bit more grounding. That's better. Little bit more grounding. Excellent.
You see what she's doing there, people. She was reading my energy field.
Now it's too much. Now I'm feeling okay. Let's lighten you up a bit now. Okay. Let's balance it out a bit. Okay. Now at the moment, Corinne, you got the grounding energies on one part and the lightening up. So just bring it all together now.
Bringing it into the heart center.
Yeah, I'm feeling it's like pressure on my chest. So just allow, like a milkshake, like a cocktail shaker. Just shake the energy so that you've got the so that you got the celestial and terrestrial not separate from each other.
Yes, I see now. Thank you.
Better. A little bit more. Shake, shake, shake.
Yes. Shake up my Etch-a-Sketch. Yes.
full earth and full twinkly cosmic. Excellent.
Precisely.
Okay. Now for a moment, do for me and not do. Be for me. Be for me, not total nothingness and total everythingness. Let's take a moment. Take a deep breath in. I'm still feeling a slight pressure on my chest. Okay, that's better. Yeah. So, are you feeling everythingness and nothingness at the same time by any chance?
I am pretty zen right at this moment.
And are you feeling the everythingness as well?
Yes. I am shaken but not stirred.
Okay. All right then, guys. Sending you angels and love and blessings, and may you play the divine child play of New Earth frequencies of many new colors beyond the five senses, the sixth sense, which is the psychic sense, not always of the highest, and then the seventh sense, the spiritual sense, which is always connected to the unified field of consciousness and the free will of all concerned. And then there are many, many more senses. And we don't try with these things. We don't push and pull. In the new energies, you allow things to come to you. How allow? You allow yourself to be abundant. You allow yourself to be free. You allow it to come. And you don't keep digging up the seeds to see if it's become a mighty willow in a minute. Just be flexible and flowing as well. Does that make sense?
It's beautiful, and it does remind me of the Nephthys energies that you brought up for me personally earlier in our talks.
Which is the nothingness energy, which is the 0 point energy, which is the black hole Mahamudra energy. That's it. Earth's Mayuma, Nephthys, was the mantra I gave Corinne, and the mantra which everybody can practice. So Nephthys is the energy of nothingness. Mayuma is the energy of unconditional love for all that is as part of the unified field. So Nephthys is nothingness, Mayuma is everythingness, which is love everywhere. And Earth is the grounding of everythingness and nothingness here now, heaven on earth.
Wow, what a show, Rashmi. Thank you for showing us literally grace. I feel grace and I see grace.
Rivers of grace for every one of our listeners, for all humans on the planet. Let's connect to all hearts across the globe this incredibly holy, beautiful Christmas Eve. And may we all awaken to joy, to peace, to ease, to truth, to simplicity, and to love. Many, many blessings, Corinne.
May we all flower
Namaste.
within the light. Namaste,
I love you.
Rashmi. I love you
Namaste.
back. Hello from California. Sending all our love there to you. Are you in Delhi? Is that where you are?
Yeah, I'm in Delhi, right next to the Prime Minister's house, overlooking the U.S. Embassy and the British Embassy. And I'm surrounded by forest, a lot of trees.
Thank you, Rashmi. Thank you for setting a beautiful example for all of us.
Thank you so much. Many, many blessings.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Okay, it is now 11:11, Rashmi. Can you believe that?
Oh my God, that was so powerful. I went into a total bliss state.